got 6 best of Redditor updates, Reddit stories for you guys today. Starting it off, with my boyfriend of 3 years. He found out that his ex is engaged and literally won't stop crying. This story, as well as every story, has updates. This one actually has 4 updates for us. But stick around for 5 more absolutely insane updated Reddit stories, such as, my younger brother has been acting strangely possessive of me and is accusing me of being jealous of his girlfriend when I confront him about it. Sounds like maybe Freud was right. And finally, the story that we're gonna end the video on. I felt up my friend in my sleep. My wife won't talk to me. We got some juicy stories for you guys today. Y'all already know the drill. Let's lock in here and read some Reddit. Me with my boyfriend of 3 years. He found out that his ex is engaged and literally won't stop crying. We have a 22 female OP, a 24 male boyfriend. Originally posted March 23rd, 2014. I met my boyfriend 3 years ago through some mutual friends. He was pretty guarded and I was the one that pursued him. We were long distance. I was living in Oregon, he was living in Washington, until I moved in with him last year. My boyfriend has only had one other relationship and a hookup before me. He stopped talking to the hookup a long time ago because she was crazy. But he kept in touch with his ex until she cut contact with him around 2 years ago. They dated when he was 15 and it lasted for around 2 years. And then she dumped him because he had no self-respect. Apparently, she's the reason why my boyfriend is so guarded now. I'll admit that I was really jealous of her and was glad when she cut contact with him, because she's beautiful and my boyfriend talked about her as if she had all of life's answers. All right, me personally, chat, I would not let that shit fly. Big red flag. Like, I don't want to be mean, but like, similarly to maybe how your boyfriend had no self-respect, maybe you don't have self-respect, because I don't know who needs to hear this, but you should not put up with that. Anyone, under no circumstances. This past January, I woke up in the middle of the night and I heard my boyfriend crying quietly. I could tell that he was looking at his phone and I wasn't sure whether or not to say anything, since I wasn't sure if he just wanted a private moment or not. After a while, he got up to go to the bathroom, so I took a peek at his phone. He was on Facebook looking at his ex's profile. She had gotten engaged and there were pictures of the ring and everything. It's been 2 months now and my boyfriend has been breaking down out of nowhere. I keep asking him to talk to me about it, but he won't. I told him to talk to a therapist and he got really insulted and said that he doesn't believe in therapy. Okay, red flag number 2. I'm unsure of what to do since this happens at least twice a week. Twice a week? Girl, just get rid of him. What are we doing? I love him, but he's always seemed a little distant to me, and obviously this woman is the reason why. Should I contact her and ask her if she has any insight? Why would you contact her? I'm starting to think that she must have said something to upset him like this, because he didn't seem that bothered when his ex was dating other people. Girl, that's like not the issue here. The issue is you're dating a man who's clearly not over his ex, bro. How old are they again? 22 female, 24 male. Okay, they're still pretty young. I hate to tell you this, but you gotta dump him. Just throw the whole man away. That man severely needs therapy. Probably never will get therapy because he doesn't believe in it. And he's not over his ex. Nobody should put up with that. If somebody isn't over their ex, don't date them. Please, for the love of God. That is just the most unbelievable red flag ever. That's my tip. Girl, you're 22, you're still young. You can find a man who's not obsessed with his ex, who's not crying twice a week for his ex, bro. Oh my God, that is the reddest flag that ever redded. Remember that story about that ex showing up at OP's house during his bachelor party and he was getting married the next day? That's gonna be this guy who never settled his feelings for his ex and is just hoping for some fucking Hallmark movie to happen with his ex. Whatever OP does, she absolutely should not drag the ex back into it, especially with the intent to be, hey, what did you do to make him be like this? Listen, I want to give her grace because OP is 22 years old. For all intents and purposes, bro, she's pretty much a child. Not really, but like, you know what I mean? Like, she might not have that much relationship experience. That being said, let's just point it out. Awful idea. If something is ever happening in your relationship, the answer should never be, let me go contact your ex. If you ever feel like that's the answer, your relationship is in shambles. You should just cut your losses and go. I totally understand, like, an ex of yours gets engaged. Yeah, that feels weird, but crying over it means there's unresolved feelings and you probably shouldn't be in another relationship. How in love do you have to be with someone that them crying over your ex is an immediate deal breaker? Like, honestly, y'all, nothing like this at all, but I was letting girls walk all over me at 22 because I just didn't know. Like, there's no ass. Like, that's something I want to teach my kids is like, listen, having crushes are fun, but you also need to have a radar for like, this person is treating me like shit, and I can find someone who isn't going to treat me like shit. Like, dead ass, I don't think that's talked about enough, chat. Like, my mom and dad never taught me like, hey, you're gonna run into somebody and have a crush onto somebody who slowly you're gonna realize does not deserve the treatment that you're giving them. I think that's so important, chat. So we got a bunch of relevant comments that it looked like OOP responded to. Commenter, no, don't contact her. Her job is finished. If her ex still has problems with their relationship, that's his issue. Now you, Missy, do not play Miss Fix-It here. You can't fix the fact that your boyfriend is actually still in love with another woman. You can be the most perfect woman on earth, but while he still has her as his dream woman, you don't have a shit show. Okay, that didn't really make grammatic sense, but that's how it was typed. Honestly, and as hard as this may be, I'd talk to him about it again, and then if there is no resolution, I'd consider moving on. You deserve someone who thinks you are the best woman on earth, not some distant ex from his high school years. OOP, I was insecure about my boyfriend's relationship with his ex from the start. They didn't talk that often, but they'd catch up once every few months through Skype or something. Wow, you know this is an old fucking post if we're talking about Skype. She lives on the East Coast, and when Hurricane Sandy hit, he called her, texted her, and messaged her on Skype despite her having cut off contact with him prior to that. I didn't even know that he still had her phone number. Is this relationship hopeless? I knew that he still had a bit of a thing for her, but I didn't know the extent of it until now. If he can't move on after all this time, I don't understand why he got into a relationship with me. Yes, girl, this relationship is hopeless. I mean, I like what the commenter was saying about like talking to him about it, but I don't think that's gonna fix anything. I also think just like at 22, is it really worth that energy? How long have they been dating? Boyfriend of 3 years? Okay, I get it. It's a long relationship and you're probably emotionally connected with him, but also if y'all have been together for 3 years and he still is this obsessed with his ex, like you haven't filled the hole that the ex apparently fills for him, like I respect the conversation play. Me personally, I think you just gotta cut your losses. Commenter replied to OOP's comment. Sometimes we think we are more emotionally available than we actually are, and I want you to know this, it is not your fault. I think this happens with people who run away from their feelings and don't process grief. It all comes back and bites them in the bum, big time. He probably didn't know it at the time when he got with you that he was like this, and now it's just spiraled out of control. I'm going to be rough, and I'm sorry, you sound like an exceptionally loving and patient girlfriend, actually. To be honest, he sounds like a bit of a jerk putting his ex-girlfriend before you emotionally. And no, I think in the long term, you'll find it to be an uphill battle with him. I think a massive turnaround is highly unlikely if he is this bad 3 years into your relationship. I just said that shit, Jack. 3 years is a lot to give up on, I know, but think about it. Wouldn't you rather be with someone who thinks you are the most amazing woman in the world? And the most amazing woman in the world right off the fucking rip, bro. OOP responded to that comment, specifically to the 3 years is a lot to give up on part. Sad face, I love him. From the moment I saw him, I knew that I wanted to be with him. He's incredibly smart and charming, but you're right. I've always felt insignificant in comparison to his ex, and I don't think that I realized quite how much. If I think about it though, there were clues that I didn't pick up on. When we first started dating, I told him at some point that he didn't seem to want to open up to me. And he told me that it was because his ex had taught him not to become too vulnerable. I thought this would pass as we got more serious about each other, and he did open up a bit more. But whenever he caught up with his ex, he'd be distant with me again for a while. I don't know why his ex cut off contact with him, but after she did, he did seem more invested in our relationship, and so I had hope for us. He was the one that asked if I wanted to move in with him. But now this happened and he barely wants to talk to me. Okay, more information. I think more reason to just cut him off. I do think it would be nice for her to be like, hey man, before I yaga yeet out of this relationship, someone's got to tell you that this is unhealthy, man. I think that conversation is merited, but I don't think you should try to save this. I think it is a gigantic waste of your time and his time. Update 1, March 25th, 2014, 2 days after the original post. It's over. I think. I called my dad and asked him to help me move back home. These last 2 days have been really emotional. My boyfriend was gone all day yesterday. He was gone when I woke up. That's fine. I assumed he went to work early, but he still wasn't home when I went to bed. I texted him once when I woke up to say good morning and twice at night, one asking if he was coming home for dinner and another asking if he was all right. I also tried calling his cell, but he didn't pick up. I thought that I deserved some answers, so I decided to snoop. Something that I've done once before when I was feeling insecure about his relationship with his ex. Well, on his laptop, hidden in a bunch of subfolders, was an MS document with his ex's name. I read it, and I'm assuming that he just saved the last conversation that he had with her, right before she cut contact with him. It started out normally, but then he asked how her relationship with her now fiance boyfriend was going. She said that it was good and that she was happy. And then it got weird because he said something like, "Really? Are you sure?" She said yes and said that was a weird question. And he said, "I don't know. I don't believe that you're that happy." I don't remember everything exactly because my head was spinning, but he basically told her that her fiance, then boyfriend, will never treat her as well as he did, and that they've known each other X number of years and managed to stay friends after their breakup, that they've helped each other grow as people, and that she should really give him another chance. He said that he's waited for her all these years and that he loves her and always believed they'd wind up together. This was all while he was with me. Fucking yikes, dude. What a fucking asshole, man. She called him an asshole and told him that he had a lot of balls to say all that to her when she told him a long time ago that they're only ever going to be friends, and that he's an even bigger asshole for doing this while they were both in relationships. She told him to go to hell and to break up with me for my sake because I deserve better. That's not even the worst part. My boyfriend woke me up this morning by calling my cell and telling me to come to the kitchen. He said that he made breakfast. So I go to the kitchen getting ready for a fight. He and I never fight, but I am so goddamn hurt. And he made what honestly looked like an amazing breakfast with a ring box in the middle of the table. What the fuck is we doing? I hate it. Did they make this man in the stupid factory? I went to I Need Fucking Therapy Town and this idiot was the mayor, bro. Oh God. He told me to open it. I did. He said something like, "These last 3 years with me have been an adventure and he hopes to keep making new adventures with me." I guess around this time, I snapped out of whatever haze I've been in and I exploded. I demanded to know where he was all day yesterday, why he wouldn't contact me, why he's been crying over his ex for the last 3 months, everything. He got mad at me for being mad. He told me that I should be happy because he was proposing. And wasn't that what I wanted? I asked him why, when it's so obvious that he'd rather be with his ex. He told me that she's obviously moved on, so it's time for him to move on too. That's not how that works, my guy. I've never been so angry in my life. I've been so incredibly patient with this man and done my best to be understanding of his situation. I've literally given him all that I had. But I'm not going to get married to him just to be his consolation prize. It's so ironic because if he had proposed 4+ months earlier, I would have been ecstatic. Now it's just broke our relationship. So yeah, I called my dad, crying, and he's on his way to help me move back in with him and my mom. That's it. I'm a wreck. But I think it's just because everything wrong and twisted in this relationship is hitting me, and it took so long for me to understand. And my ex is just sitting on the couch with his laptop. Thank you guys so much for helping me see how unfair this whole relationship was. I read every one of your comments, even if I didn't get a chance to respond to them all. Dude, there's fucking 2 more updates to this. I'm actually fucking scared of where this story's going, chat. What in the unaware man-child did I just read? Damn, I'm so in love with my ex to the point where I'm crying twice a week in bed next to my girlfriend that I allegedly have feelings for. You know what I should do? Propose to her. Psych ward immediately. Is it too soon to bring out castration? We gotta leave the castration for the men who are actually committing crimes, I feel like. Like, honestly, y'all, this man is just horribly confused and refuses therapy. Let's get him in therapy, and then if he does some, like, stalker obsessive shit, yeah, let's castrate him. That's my verdict. All right, we got one relevant comment, and it's from a downvoted, deleted commenter. He made a mistake. People have made bigger mistakes before and overcome it. He was putting you number 1 by proposing to you. What? You said you had 3 years of a happy relationship together before this. Although he had a temporary lapse in judgment, he still wants you. You are looking for an incredibly perfect fairy tale where everything plays out exactly like you wanted it. After you break up, you'll realize all the things he did to say and show he loved you. Things that would trump his revelation. Sounds like things are your way or the highway. Hopefully, if another man loves you, he'll be willing to put up with that. Y'all, I know this is 2014, but is this like an early tater tot supporter or some shit? Like, bro, you really want to go into relationships with that logic? You're gonna be fucking miserable. He put you number 1 by proposing. Just ignore the fact that he's been texting his ex behind your back and basically in love with her for the 3 years that you guys have been together and has been trying to get back together with her your entire relationship. It was a silly oopsie. Shut the actual fuck up. No fucking way you're that stupid. stupid. OOP, I thought that my relationship was a happy one, yes, but I didn't know that my ex was declaring his love for his ex-girlfriend and trying to win her back while he was still with me. Nor did I know that once she blocked him from Facebook, he was logging into my account to keep tabs on her. If you honestly believe that someone that's been crying for 3 months over an ex's engagement really wanted to be with me, you're in the minority. And judging by the fact that he had bought the ring the day before he proposed, he really hadn't been planning it at all. I'm astounded by your post, honestly. Us too, girl. Us too. We got an update too, April 15th, 2014, 3 weeks after the last update. My ex went more or less crazy after I moved back home. I blocked him from essentially everything, changed all of my passwords, and deactivated my Facebook, so he had no way of reaching me aside from literally driving to my parents' house to see me. Apparently, he started sending messages to my friends, some of them are mutual friends, asking to use their Skype accounts to talk to me. He told them that I stole some things from him when I moved out and he wanted them back. I got a few phone calls from my friends asking me about this. They told me that they knew that I didn't steal anything from him because that's not like me at all, but they wanted to know why he was so desperate to contact me. I wasn't ready to tell the whole story. Honestly, I didn't think anyone would believe me. So I told them that I didn't know what was going on, but asked them to not give him their Skype accounts by any means. A few days after that, the phone calls started, all from a few different numbers that I didn't recognize. I didn't pick any of them up, but one day I'd have about 20 missed calls from one number, then another 20 plus from a different number. I had to set my phone to only allow calls from specific numbers, otherwise it would go straight to my voicemail. Even if he couldn't reach me, he succeeded in making me feel pretty isolated. After the 5th day of phone calls, I broke down and told my mom everything that happened. She didn't say much, she mostly let me talk. Afterwards, she told me that I made the right decision, but that there's absolutely no reason why I should be going through this alone. She said that she didn't want to push me to tell her what happened until I was ready, but the best thing that I could be doing right now is spending time with people that love and support me. So after going with me to get my phone number changed, she encouraged me to start calling my friends and telling them what happened and to just hang out with them more in general. I had it stuck in my head that everyone would side with my ex and tell me that I made a terrible mistake, that his intentions were good, and I blew things out of proportion by insinuating that he only proposed because his ex-girlfriend got engaged. But I was actually overwhelmed by my friends' responses. Apparently my ex had been telling everyone that we broke up because I had major jealousy issues over his ex. But once they heard my side of the story, I was actually shocked by how many of them said that it made sense. They've all told me that I've done the right thing and that they back me up no matter what. I just felt this huge sense of relief and have been making an effort to go out more. I'm almost wondering if this ex was doing some major damage on OP. Cause like, how does that make sense in someone's head? Like, y'all, this happens to me. I'm fucking telling everybody. Cause I'm like, either you're on my side or you're fucking dumb, you know? You know what I'm saying, guys? Like, only someone who has been gaslit to a level where things that should make sense don't make sense would think like this. At least to me. I could be totally wrong, guys. But this is just me, like, you know, reading into things. I'll be honest, though, there are times when I wonder if I was wrong. Sometimes I think that maybe my ex had been grieving over his old relationship and proposing to me was his way of starting over. Sometimes I think that I turned down the only marriage proposal that I'll ever get. And sometimes I think that maybe I should have accepted the proposal because I loved him, and you don't often find people that you truly love. But then on the days that I'm feeling wiser, I remind myself how bizarre our last few weeks together were, how I always knew deep down that I was second best for him, and how he's been behaving since we broke up. I've never seen him so unstable. He was always so calm and logical, so this is completely new to me. I know deep down that I did the right thing, but sometimes what you know in your head and feel in your heart are so completely different. So that's basically it. I'm just going through the motions and I'm going to make an appointment with a therapist. Good move. I wish that I had something more profound to update you guys with, some added wisdom, but I don't. My best advice for anyone going through something similar is what my mom told me. Surround yourself with people that love and support you. I don't know, man. Like, don't get me wrong. I get it. Like, finding people you truly love definitely takes time, but bro, there's so many fucking people on this planet. Like, I don't know who needs to hear this, but you don't have to put up with this shit. And maybe I'm delusional because I'm not dating anybody, haven't dated anybody in a while. Sure, point fingers and be like, you're an idiot, Sarby. It's harder than it is. But I don't think it really is, chat. I think if you're a good person, you focus on making yourself the best version that you can be, someone's gonna come around who's like, that person's sick as fuck. I want to date them and love them forever. Like, unless you're a piece of shit that's just like an awful human being, I just truly believe someone will be able to love you. And even then, like, evil people are loved all the fucking time, bro. Also, marriage is not needed. You can survive without. Exactly. I'm a firm believer, guys. If you're ready for something, but you're not pushing for it, it'll come to you. I truly believe that. Honestly, all the girls I've like, quote unquote, dated, I wasn't like looking to date. And every time that I've looked to date, it ends pretty fucking bad. Look who it is. Oh, hi, sweet handsome man. The star of the show has graced us with his presence. Oh yeah, thank you. I appreciate the little head rubs. You're just such a cutie, handsome man. Oh, he's debating. Yeah. Is this what we're doing today? We're hanging with the gang, Mr. Beans? Oh, he's sniffing my sunscreened hands. Oh, okay. Enough of that. You know what time it is, chat? Treat time! Oh, my belly's showing. Look at me being a little slut. Here, let me move this. For a second, I was like, am I fucking plumber's cracking, you guys? I fucking pull up my underwear real quick. I gotta make you guys pay for that shit. He's a handsome boy. He's a handsome man. He's like, yeah, stop fucking doing that and give me my goddamn treats. We got M with the 5 gifted memberships, Lewis with the $5 dono, and Evil Sarby, still have no clue who that is, with the $6.66 donation. So these are from you guys. Thank you guys for supporting. Is it that time, Mr. Baines? Do you want it? I'll put it right there. Oh, dude, I thought he was gonna eat it laying down. I was like, no way, that's so off-brand of you. Why would you do that? He's gonna show his butthole to you guys again to promote his only beans. I got more for you. Come here. No, gotta turn around. It worked. You're welcome. Let's give him 2 more, chat, from chat in general, as well as for all the subs and whatnot. Cheap Hill, thank you for joining the Bean Supremacy. These are from you guys, all right? Mr. Beans. Bum, bum, bum. That's my son. No, I feel like there's one more that he might be on top of. Oh, sorry, one boy. Oh, yeah, there's one more right here. You didn't get this one, my guy. Go get that one. I feel like this is such a power pose. Streamer beans. Oh, alright. Yo, when are cats gonna be like fashion accessories, you know? Like imagine I fucking roll out on the red carpet holding beans. Like, ooh. Oh, okay. He said I want down. I'm sorry, you're right, my bad. Oh, no. He said, oh, you want a boob? Ah. Final update, June 1st, 2014, nearly 2 months after the last update. My ex mailed me the engagement ring that he bought shortly after my last update. I didn't know what to do with it. I wasn't sure if the ring was what he had been claiming that I stole. I also felt weird about mailing it back because what if he claimed that he never got it? So my dad volunteered to personally deliver the ring back to him. I don't know if anything was said when my dad brought it back, and I never asked. I heard from some friends that 2 weeks ago, my ex bought a ticket and flew to New York City to try and talk to his ex. Somehow he found out the name of the company that she worked for, looked up its location, and waited in front of the building all day. I have no idea what happened, but apparently there aren't any signs of her coming back, so I'm assuming that didn't go very well. Yeah, I'll take things you should never fucking do for 500, please. Like, remember the part up here where she said you had no self-respect? Hey man, you do in fact have no self-respect. Clearly you're unaware of what crossing boundaries is. You need help. That is stalker activity. I can't believe that he did that, and I can't believe that I dated someone that was that crazy for 3 years. But I suppose it helps every time that I hear about something like this because it reinforces the fact that I did the right thing. I met with 2 therapists. I wasn't a huge fan of the first one. Every time that I said something, he'd ask, and how do you feel about that? No feedback or suggestions whatsoever. At the end, he suggested that I was depressed and might want to consider a few different medications. Ugh, I don't like that. I don't intend on seeing that guy again. I met the second one last week though, and I liked her a lot. She told me that she doesn't think that I need to see her regularly, but to feel free to make appointments whenever I'm feeling especially down or stressed. So I think I'll do that. A few people asked why I wanted to see a therapist in my last post because I seem to be doing the right things. Well, the problem was that even though I knew I was doing the right thing, I didn't necessarily feel that they were right. I still doubted myself and I felt like a different person than I used to be. Prior to this mess, I was always very optimistic and happy in general. I always tried to make the best of things, but at the time of my last post, I felt down, and even though I was making an effort to see friends, I wasn't really enjoying it. Anyways, this brings me to where I'm at now. I started a paid internship with the chance of getting hired full-time almost a month ago, and I love it. I love the people, the work itself, and the fact that I'm getting back into a routine. And I'm a little embarrassed to say that I'm attracted to the guy that hired me, who's about my age. There's nothing going on, and I'm definitely not ready or willing to be in a relationship. It's simply the fact that he is the nicest, best-mannered person that I've ever met. He's always positive, polite, and smiling, so it's impossible not to be in a good mood around him. But is he into his ex? Too soon? Probably too soon. So it's not that I think my next relationship should be with him or that I have feelings for him. It's just that I've realized that the type of person that I should be looking for is someone that makes me feel good just by being around them. I don't give much thought to my ex anymore. It's amazing how much life changes over the course of a few months, but I think that everything is turning out for the best. Damn, all right. Good for OP. I mean, this is from 2014. This was 11 years ago. Like, what is OP doing? I would love to know. I'm just glad OP got out of that absolute shit show of a relationship scot-free. I'm trying to think why he would mail the engagement ring to her like that. I don't understand what the goal was there. This dude needs help. Severe help. Do I have a reason to talk to her? Oh, yeah, that's a good point, Mr. Sakovich. My younger brother has been acting strangely possessive of me and is accusing me of being jealous of his girlfriend when I confront him about it. Original post, August 26th, 2015. My brother and I have always been close. Growing up, we were each other's best friends. We've been through a lot of stuff. Our parents' divorce, death of a few family members, even a devastating house fire when we were little. Even though we're both adults now, we still really rely on and trust each other. After graduating high school, I went to college in a different state. I felt really bad for leaving my brother behind, but other than our parents being divorced, our home life had always been great. He was still rather upset with the fact that I was leaving and that I didn't want to stay home to be with him. I felt and still feel like it was a little unreasonable for him to react that way. I promised that I would call and visit as frequently as possible. When my brother graduated from high school, he asked if he could come live with me. It wasn't too strange for him to ask. We lived in a small town, and the place I moved was a bigger and more interesting city. Since he had decided not to go straight to college, it seemed like moving to the city with me was his only chance to get out of our hometown. I told him that we could look for a new place when my lease was up. I lived in a studio apartment and wasn't about to share that tiny space with an 18-year-old boy. Ultimately, we found a reasonable 2-bedroom and moved into it right before my classes started. Things were a little weird right off the bat. He got very upset when he found out that I had been casually dating. It seemed like he was upset that I hadn't told him. He was mad that we were drifting apart so far that I wouldn't tell him that I was dating, even if I wasn't in a committed relationship or anything. Then he asked me if I could refrain from bringing guys over to our home. When I asked him why, he said it made him uncomfortable. I told him I could respect that while I was just casually dating guys, but if I got into a relationship, I would certainly be bringing my boyfriend over. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it, he told me. Like, this gave not necessarily war flashbacks, but I totally forgot my first girlfriend in college, the one that I literally lost my virginity to, her brother lived with her.
Wait, is this fucking play about us?
It wasn't awkward, but it was a little awkward. like I was like staying over and shit. Don't get me wrong, brothers should definitely be cool about it and all that stuff, but still, I do feel like it is a little weird. Me and my sisters, I'm like, yo, girl, you get your nut. I hella respect my sisters fucking doing their thing. Do I want to be in a room next to them while it's happening? Not at all. Oh my God, you guys, I fucking forgot about that. That was like lodged into the back of my mind. Little extra Sarby lore for you guys today. Well, we got to that bridge. I had a new boyfriend and decided to confront my brother about having him over. I hadn't told my boyfriend why I insisted that we always hang out at his apartment, and he didn't ask. We got into a huge screaming fight where my brother basically told me that college guys only want sex and that I should be focusing on school. I couldn't believe this was happening. When I told him that I was an adult and would do what I wanted, he reminded me that he paid rent and had input into what went on in his home. We compromised that my boyfriend could come over but wouldn't stay overnight. I told him that solution would work for the time being, but we would need to reassess. Again, he told me we would cross that bridge when we came to it. Listen, like I said, guys, is it a little weird to know that your sibling is getting taken to Pound Town in the room next to yours? Yes. But you chose to live with her, and this is what adults do, bro. This is what your sibling is gonna do, whether they live with you or not. In my opinion, if you're living with your family member, you guys are adults, obviously you're gonna date. As long as you can't hear anything, we're good. We are a-okay. If they were being obnoxiously loud, yeah, totally would maybe kind of understand the brother's point of view, but clearly it's not that. It's like a control thing. He doesn't want his sister getting his nut. Gotta say, that's pretty disrespectful. Real siblings support their siblings getting their nut. After having the same argument 2 or 3 times, I told my brother that if he wasn't willing to stop being weird about this, I wasn't going to be living with him once the lease was up. He apologized profusely, but continued to insist that he was right in this situation. Finally, he told me he would let me make my own mistakes. Unfortunately, things didn't go well with that boyfriend. We broke up for reasons unrelated to my brother. Of course, my brother took advantage of this to tell me that he was right and that I should have listened to him. Around that time, I called my mom and told her about how weird he was being. She insisted that he was trying to take the place of our father, since he hadn't really been involved in our lives since they were divorced. Even if that is true, I still don't feel like it justifies his behavior. Over the summer, a friend of mine was getting married, so I was out of town for the wedding. When I came home, a bunch of my stuff was missing. Stuff like my perfume, some clothes, and lotion. I asked my brother about it, but he denied taking any of it. He told me that he'd had some friends over, so they must have taken my stuff. He told me that he would deal with it and get my stuff back. He did eventually bring my stuff to me, but I'm not totally convinced that his friends took it. After all, he didn't seem at all upset about them having stolen things from me. About a month ago, he told me that he had a girlfriend and that he wanted to bring her over to meet me. I briefly considered making a big stink about it like he had with my ex, but I decided to be an adult and told him that would be great. He scheduled a big dinner and cooked and asked me to dress up and everything. I was kind of relieved that he had someone he was so interested in because maybe he would be less weird than he had been. When this girl showed up though, he was in the kitchen when she arrived, so I answered the door. And it was like looking in a mirror. I could tell that she was just as alarmed as I was at how much we looked alike. We both have platinum blonde hair, fair skin, green eyes, and similarly shaped bodies. We're also approximately the same height. During dinner, we discovered that we also have lots of other things in common. She goes to a different college nearby, but has the same major that I do. We also like a lot of the same music and share a lot of mannerisms. Sweet home Alabama. Oh my God. Ew. I just gotta keep reading. After she left, I asked my brother if he had noticed how much she and I look alike. He rolled his eyes and told me that I was just being weird. I don't know if I am. He brings her over all the time. They make out in the living room on the couch. When I asked him if they could take it to his room, he accused me of being jealous that he wasn't making out with me, which was confusing to both his girlfriend and myself. At that moment, it kind of started to seem like he was trying to make me jealous with her. That's a really fucking weird thing to say to your sibling. You know what, chat? That's a hill I'm willing to die on. If you've ever said that to your sibling, you need help. I'm planting my flag on that one, and that flag is red. I wouldn't think too much of it if he hadn't been acting so strange since we moved in together. I can't tell if I'm just imagining things or not. I don't want to feel like my little brother has a crush on me, especially since we live together. I also don't know how to talk about it with him without him just saying that I'm being crazy or jealous or whatever. Please help me. Girl, you gotta get out of there. Not saying that we should, but let's just assume that this man isn't weird as fuck and probably is in love with his sister. Let's assume that's out the window. It's not, but let's just assume he's taking up the fatherly role. You still don't want to live with that. The best part about me being in college was that I didn't fucking live with my parents. Love Kathy, love Scotty boy. They've done a lot for me. If I did live with them, it wouldn't be the end of the world. That being said, it was awesome being able to bring girls to my place that I lived in and not have a fatherly figure get mad when I had them over. But I would put money on the fact that this is weird. He probably is in love with you and you need to get out. Honestly, chat, I'm like, don't even wait for the lease to be over. This is icky and probably a little unsafe. I think you need to seriously consider breaking this lease and getting out of there and going low contact with him. This is extremely weird. Damn, that poor girlfriend though. Like, can you imagine, like, you're like, oh, I met this really great guy. He's so awesome. And then like slowly you're like, oh, he's just using me to make his sister jealous. Like, I would need so much therapy, an astronomical amount of therapy. I should make a drinking game. Every time OP gives you the ick, take a shot. We would be absolutely blasted by the end of stream. I want to hear the brother's point of view so bad. I need to know how he would justify this. No, for real. Like, is he delusional about it? Or is he like, nah, bro, I'm so fucking into my sister? Y'all, what if the update is, I realize I'm in love with my brother? No, please no. Relevant comments. Move out ASAP. Also tried to get him into counseling. He obviously has an unhealthy obsession with you, but it doesn't sound like he's very approachable about it. Do you have a lock for your door? You should lock your door when you're out so he can't get in and take your things. He is completely inappropriate. OP, I do have a lock for my door. It never occurred to me before that I should have to lock it when I left the apartment. This sucks. Someone replied to that comment saying, you should probably also lock it while you're asleep. I don't want to jump to your brother, might wake you up one night trying to climb into your bed. But my first thought when you said he took your stuff was that he either used it for wanking or made his girlfriend wear your clothes while they banged. It's not impossible, so be careful. Oh God, I didn't even think of that. That's ew. Yeah, I definitely washed the clothes as soon as I got them back. But if that's what he was doing, maybe burning them would have been a better route. I think that's the safe route. Update 1, August 30th, 2015, 4 days later. So I met up with my future roommate to tell her that I had officially decided to not live with my brother anymore. I gave her a full rundown of everything that had happened between the two of us. We've made appointments to tour some houses and apartments this week. She also said that I'm welcome to move into her place if I don't feel like I can ride out the lease. W future roommate, doing the Lord's work over here. On Friday night, my brother had his girlfriend over and they were watching movies in the living room. It had been recommended to me that I approach him about it while she was around because he would be less likely to fly off the handle. Just in case, I packed a bag full of valuable things and stuff I would need if I had to book it immediately. They finished one of the movies they had been watching. He went into the kitchen to get them some more snacks and his girlfriend was still in the living room, so I figured this would be a good time. This way, we weren't airing all of our dirty laundry in front of her, but she would be there if he started yelling or anything. I asked him if he could talk for a second. He seemed a little irritated, probably because I was interrupting his date, but said it was fine. I told him that it felt like we didn't make very compatible roommates and that I wouldn't be renewing the lease with him for the next month. When he asked why, I told him that I felt like he didn't respect me as a roommate. I wanted to live somewhere with a person who would let me make the calls on who was or wasn't allowed to be in my house. I wanted to live with someone who gave a shit if their friends were stealing from me. He told me that he respected me more than anyone else I could live with. He said that it's because he respects me so much that he gave me a hard time about the boyfriend thing. I said that if he really respected me, he would give me the room to decide if a boyfriend was good for me or not. Around that time, he started getting louder and angrier, so his girlfriend came in to check and see if things were cool. He told her that things were fine and that she should probably go. I panicked and tried to play it off a little. I said stuff like, "Oh no, don't let me ruin your evening. Please stay. I'm about to leave." He kept telling her to go before I finally was begging for her to please stay. He could tell that I was kind of scared and started laughing at me. He asked if I was afraid of him and told me that I was being ridiculous. He asked his girlfriend if she thought that there was any good reason for me to be afraid of him. She seemed really worried or confused and told him he was being weird. He explained that I had just told him that I was bailing on him as a roommate and that I was being a horrible C word about things that weren't a big deal. He asked his girlfriend to leave again, and she did. Once she was gone, he told me that I was just pissed that he wasn't going to let me be a huge slut like I wanted to be. He told me that someday I would meet the perfect guy for me, but he wouldn't want to date me because I would have sex with so many guys and nobody worthwhile wants to marry a skank. He said that he was trying to help me so that I wouldn't wind up in that situation. I told him that I was going to leave and that we could talk again whenever he was ready to talk without saying horrible things to me, but that I was going to be giving our landlord notice by Monday. I went into my room and got my bag. I locked my door behind me and headed to the door. When I was almost to the front door, he appeared almost right behind me and said my name. I turned around very quickly and as I did, he punched me right in the face. He didn't knock me out or anything, but I collapsed on the floor. Without saying anything else, he stepped over me and went out the door, leaving me there. I iced my eye for a while, which is now pretty swollen and purple, before I grabbed my bag and left. I called my mom and talked on the phone with her while I walked to my car so that if he approached me, she would hear what happened. She insisted that I was exaggerating about what he had done, so I sent her a picture of my face. She started crying and apologized for being dismissive. I told her that it was okay, but I didn't want to be forced to spend time with him in any family situations ever again. I haven't seen him since then. I've been staying with my new roommate. I've gotten a few texts from him, but I haven't responded yet. Here's what they say. Text 1, where did you go? I came home and now you're gone. We have to finish talking about this. Text 2, are you fucking kidding me? Tell me where you are or that you're alive. I'm scared that I haven't heard from you. You know how worried I am when you fall off the face of the earth like this. Text 3, you're being such a child right now. Text 4, I don't know what you said to mom, but you've really upset her. I hope you're happy. Text 5, I'll be home all day Monday. If you want to come over and meet with the landlord to give notice, that's fine. Text 6, where am I going to live? His girlfriend even texted me once to tell me how worried he is about me. Dude, I'm fucking worried for this girlfriend. You gotta fucking show her what he did. Like ASAP. Send that picture, bro. She needs to know if he hasn't been doing this already to her. I'm a little nervous about tomorrow. As I said, I haven't texted him back about joining him tomorrow. I told my new roommate that I need her to come with me. She suggested that I not wear any makeup so he can see the reality of what he did to my face. I don't know. What do y'all think? I think this is a bad move. Like, do you have to go see him again? Like, can't you just give your landlord notice without him also having to be there? Like, don't get me wrong, having someone with you is smart. I'm not trying to be sexist here. I think it's safer to go with a man, like man versus man, a little safer in my opinion. Like, if OP has a man friend to go with her, I think she should take them. Shit, man, that's fucking terrifying. I'm like, dude, don't see this brother until like you absolutely have to, like while you're moving out. This man has proven that he's dangerous and will do shit to you. Honestly, too, like I would file a police report. Even if you don't press charges, it's good to have that documentation there. And then I already said it, but you need to tell his girlfriend ASAP. Tell all the people in his life, because that is fucked up, bro. A man like that would definitely be more afraid of a man. That's kind of how I feel too, Lesbian Wolf. If I have a daughter, bro, like I really want to like raise her doing shit to know how to like kick dudes' asses when needed. She could have the cops escort her, you're right. Which is also just more important for her to file a police report. The mom hasn't impressed me this entire story. I don't know if we have enough info to blame her, but I would venture to guess that her parenting probably encouraged this. All right, we got more relevant comments. OOP when told to file a police report. I'm currently on hold with the police department. If they need me to come into the station in order to fill out the report, I'll do that first thing in the morning. All right, well, at least she's filing a police report. When told to contact the brother's girlfriend, I just sent her a text message to ask if she was with him. For some reason, I feel like engaging in this with her while they're together might put her in a bad situation. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'd like to think that I can trust my gut on this one. Okay, no, actually, I agree with that. I think that is probably going to put her in a bad situation if the brother is there. And then OP added this edit. I'm going to the police station with my roommate to file a report. I'm also trying to get in touch with his girlfriend to let her know what's going on. I haven't decided whether or not I should tell her that I'm going to the police with this. I emailed the landlord to make sure that he knows I'm putting in a notice, but don't want to meet to sign the paperwork if I have to meet with my brother. I haven't contacted my brother at all yet. I'm also thinking about calling my dad. He isn't super active in my life, but since my mom's turned out to be less than helpful in this situation, I'd like to have a family member on my side if I can. If he's not super active in your life, like, what is he gonna do about it? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Shit, bro, you might have to drop the whole family. They fucking suck. Final update, August 31st, 2015, one day after the first update. Last night, my roommate and I went to the police station and filed a police report. I recounted to them all the weird things that happened with my brother in the past year that we've lived together. I told them that his girlfriend was a witness to the argument and showed them the text conversation with my mother. They also took pictures of my face in its current state, since my face is obviously more evidently bruised than in the picture I sent to my mom. I couldn't think of a whole lot of questions to ask at the time. I was very nervous and a little overwhelmed, and they didn't provide me with a whole lot of information. They gave me a copy of the report and told me that a detective was being assigned to my case and would call me sometime today. I don't know if they're going to be making an arrest or not. I think that they automatically have to in my state when this kind of report is filed, but I'm not sure. I feel really stupid for not thinking to ask such a basic question, but I also feel like it's kind of weird that they didn't offer that information. They did tell me that they would be happy to escort me to the apartment to collect my belongings if I felt that was necessary. Yes, 100%. His girlfriend called me a few times while I was at the police station, but I was obviously busy and couldn't take her calls. I texted her when I was done and asked if it was too late for me to call. She was still up, so I called and told her about what happened when she left. She immediately started apologizing. I assured her that what happened wasn't her fault. I asked if he had ever done anything like that to her. She said no. I hope she was being honest. I didn't mention to her that I had gone to the police. I just said that I wanted to let her know for her own safety. She thanked me and apologized some more. She didn't say what her next steps were going to be, but I told her that I would be checking in to make sure she was doing okay, which she said she would appreciate. This morning I called our dad. I haven't talked to my dad since Father's Day. He's remarried and has a few younger children with his new wife. He's definitely one of those remarried dads who ignores his old family in favor of his new one. I wasn't anticipating much sympathy from him, but he really surprised me. He told me that based on some of my brother's behavior from his childhood, violent tendencies towards other kids at school around the time of the divorce, which I had never heard about from anyone until that moment, the whole thing didn't especially shock him. Dad's fairly well off financially and offered to get me a lawyer if I thought I needed one. He highly advised I at least meet with a lawyer to get a professional legal opinion on where to go from here. I took his offer and am meeting with a lawyer in my city tomorrow when I get off of work. My brother cannot afford a lawyer on his own, and my mother cannot afford to help him financially. Having a lawyer is definitely an advantage to me. Rare absent dad W. I guess I'm fucking eating my words about not contacting him, but you know what? OP gets a free lawyer out of it. Thank you all for giving me the kick in the ass I needed to go to the police. I still haven't contacted my brother, and I think I'll refrain from doing so until after the meeting with the lawyer tomorrow. My mom has sent me a few text messages asking why I haven't been in touch with my brother. I haven't responded to those either. Yeah, bro, fuck it. Why haven't I been talking to my brother? Because he punched me and probably wants to fuck me. Just drop the whole family, sis. Like, God, what is this from? 2015? I hope OP is okay. Am I the a-hole for breaking up with my girlfriend after she insisted I pay for her sister's student loans? Originally posted to r/am I the a-hole on March 20th, 2025. So I, 28 male, have been dating my girlfriend, 26 female, for about 2 years. A few months ago, I got really lucky on and one of listen, y'all, whenever they name drop it, I feel like this has to be low-key a fake story. That's an ad. Guys, I honestly don't want to read it. This is such a stupid fucking ad. I'm skipping it, bro. We're finding a new story. Fuck this story and everything that it stands for. No, you're not making it into a Sarby video because fuck them, bro. Nah. You could have literally just said, I got lucky and won $80,000 gambling, but you name dropped the company. Nah, that's a fucking ad, bro. Let's do this one. It has a nice clickbait title to it. I like it. I like it. Hopefully this one doesn't start off with a fucking ad, bro. My fiance made a split-second decision that has cost me a year of my life, and I'm furious. Originally posted to r/true off my chest on April 4th, 2025. I, 26 female, my fiance, 30 male, and his son, 5 years old, were out getting Chipotle on March 14th. On the way home, we reached a busy intersection with a blinking yellow light. My fiance was driving, and I could tell he was about to go. I saw a car coming fast, and I very clearly told him to wait until the light was green. I don't know if he didn't hear me, didn't take me seriously, or just ignored me, but he kept driving forward anyway, and we got T-boned by a car going 50 miles per hour. Everyone else walked away fine, including his son, thank God, but I was crushed. I ended up with 2 full breaks in my pelvis, 2 fractures in my tailbone, fractures in my L4 and L5 vertebrae, and a fractured sternum. I was and still am in so much pain I can't even explain it. I wouldn't wish this kind of pain on anyone. I was rushed to the ER where everything was a complete blur except the trauma. I started having intense flashbacks, panic attacks, and nightmares about the crash and the pain. I had to undergo surgery where 2 7-inch steel screws were inserted into my pelvis. At the hospital, they gave me a back brace that was way too big for me. The nurses and PTs even admitted they didn't measure and just guessed my size. Even when we told them it was too big, they didn't do anything about it. And despite this, they expected me to stand up and move around wearing it. That brace did nothing for support. Moving in it felt like my spine and pelvis were being ripped apart. The pain I was in, trying to follow their orders to stand and walk, was inhumane. All I remember from those days is pain, frustration, fear, and this overwhelming sense of helplessness. Girl, that sounds like a whole ass fucking lawsuit. Get a good lawyer and sue that hospital, because holy shit. After about a week, I was transferred to a physical rehabilitation center. I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to bathe. I didn't want to move. I was so depressed and in so much pain that even thinking about shifting in bed made me cry. I had to depend on strangers for the most basic things, going to the bathroom, bathing, even feeding myself. As someone who's always been independent, it was utterly humiliating and devastating. I'm home now, but my recovery is far from over. Doctors and physical therapists all told me the same thing. You have the second worst kind of break anyone can experience. You'll need at least a year to recover, if not longer. You can't put weight on your right leg for 3 months. No bending, no twisting, and even after 3 months, it'll be a very slow process. And that's the part that's eating me alive, because before this, I was finally getting my life together. I was working on my health. I was eating right, doing CrossFit regularly, getting stronger, and finally meeting people and socializing. I had just gone back to college. I was finally building structure into my life after being recently diagnosed with ADHD. And now, it's all on hold. I can't work out. I can't leave the house unless it's for a doctor's appointment. I can't do anything by myself. And it feels like I've lost everything I was working so hard to build. And even though my fiance has been supportive through all of this and is helping take care of me, I'm so angry at him. I told him, I warned him, I said, don't go, wait. And when I asked him why he kept going, he just said, I don't know. And that I don't know is now costing me an entire year of my life, maybe more. And I'm the one who's paying for it every single day. So yeah, I just needed to get this off my chest. I feel trapped in my own body. I feel like I'm grieving the life I could have had this year. I feel angry, sad, helpless, and I'm just trying to make sense of it all. But mostly, I just want my life back. I know this is temporary. I know I'll eventually recover, but losing a year of my life, my sense of normalcy, and my peace of mind is really, really rough. If anyone has any advice on how I can work on this, or maybe even share their own experiences similar to this one, I'd greatly appreciate it. My fiance has been supportive through all this and is helping take care of me. I really want to know if he's showing remorse. I understand people make mistakes. Like, that is inherently something that humans do. If you expect humans to be perfect 24/7 and to not have wrong opinions, make wrong decisions, you are just wrong as a person. He made a big fucky wucky. I am not trying to diminish that, but like, bad things are going to happen and people are going to suffer consequences from other people's actions. Like, that is something that happens. But my decision on if I should be even more mad at the husband and if OP should be even more mad is he showing remorse? I think my answer here is if you're trying to salvage the marriage, if you're trying not to go this year and possibly longer with that resentment, that anger, that sadness, and the feelings of blame towards the husband, which he deserves, don't get me wrong, I think the move is individual therapy and couples therapy. Hire one therapist to come over and just do therapy sessions with you so that you can work through your emotions and this really, really tough time. But then also a couples therapist to, like, honestly confront the fiance. I think the answer, I don't know, is not good enough. It really is not. Like, I don't think I would want to be married to someone who fucked up so hard that I am now going to have to recover for a year and maybe even longer. And I'm now going through this like insane, painful period of my life. The answer, I don't know, is not good enough. We need to like work through the feelings here. If this engagement, I might have said marriage a couple times, my bad. If this engagement is gonna work, we need to talk about this. Otherwise, like, that anger, that sadness, that resentment that OP is feeling is only gonna grow. And at a certain point, it's gonna grow to a point of no coming back. If it hasn't gotten there already. I think if there's any chance that they continue this engagement, they gotta get in therapy ASAP. But like, also, if he's not showing remorse, the husband needs to show remorse. He needs to take accountability. Yeah, sorry guys, that's what I kind of meant too by like showing remorse. I feel like with remorse is like the accountability aspect. I maybe didn't say that. Couple of relevant / top comments. Was everyone in the car wearing seatbelts? OOP said yes, everyone was wearing a seatbelt. Someone said, please seriously think about if 5 or 10 years down the line, will you be able to trust your fiance, or is the distrust and anger, which you have every right to feel, going to fester inside you and make those bad days 100 times worse when you see him? Yeah. The comments are very like, they're hyping them up, sharing things that have happened, but I think a lot of people are anti-fiance in this. Okay, this person is saying that they should see a therapist, kind of similar to what I was saying. This person's saying, I'd be done because that was a really reckless move that could have killed everyone. And his response of, I don't know, doesn't cut it for me. I think the I don't know is probably the biggest fucking part for me, chat. Update in the comments, April 4th, 2025, same day, 7 hours later. For those wondering about where the accident happened, since the rules around blinking lights vary, it took place in Texas within the Dallas-Fort Worth area. That's all I'll share location-wise for privacy reasons. Next, a lot of people have asked whether my fiance has shown remorse and how he's been supporting me since the accident. The answer is yes, he's been devastated. He has apologized to me multiple times at the crash site, in the hospital, during rehab, and at home. He's also been having panic attacks himself as of lately, something that he's never experienced prior to the accident. There was one moment where he called me panicking because he couldn't find his truck keys and desperately wanted to come see me to make sure I'm doing okay. My mom had to drive over to calm him down and help. Okay, I mean, at least that's good. We love the remorse. We love the apology. I'm not getting the accountability vibe. Like, I know I said I was implying accountability earlier, but now that like I'm reading this, I'm realizing remorse and accountability are very different. Like, I do really need him to be like, this was fucking my fault, and like, here's why I didn't do it, and here's how I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen in the future. I'm at least glad to hear that he's showing remorse here. I will say this is a little high maintenance. Like, I appreciate that he desperately wants to make sure that they're doing okay, but also, bro, like, let's not cause more problems for OP, if that makes sense. He also continued to visit me frequently in the hospital and at the rehab center, and he's been advocating for me when I had issues, such as the back brace I was given, which was clearly too large. Side note, despite multiple people from my family, fiance, and even the PTs mentioning it, the hospital staff didn't replace it. It wasn't until I called the hospital a week later, frustrated, that they finally took action. I had to put on my Karen voice and explain that their failure to properly size the brace was actively hindering my recovery. Eventually, I got a new one in a smaller size. Fun fact, the brace only comes in 2 sizes, small, medium, and large, extra large. I'll let you guess which one they gave me. For a very important piece of medical equipment, that sounds fucking dumb. And you know this fucking stupid piece of shit back brace with only 2 sizes probably costed like 15 grand. Like, if you're gonna be in the medical space and charge an arm and a leg for it, fucking make sure it's fitted to them. My fiance has also been helping me understand the insurance claim process. From what we know, I may be looking at around $100,000. Additionally, at home, he's made sure I have what I need to recover. He just bought me a $300 plus bed frame that moves up and down similarly to the hospital beds I was used to, because I can't move up and down as normally without feeling pain or being at risk of re-breaking something. He's also been cooking for me and for my visiting family, helping me clean up, assisting with daily tasks, and has made it clear he doesn't expect me to lift a finger and only wants me to focus on healing. He's even told me how he's going to halt his plans on expanding his side business so that he can spend more time tending to me during my recovery. Not saying he didn't fuck up, not saying that he doesn't still need to take accountability. All I'm going to say is that I'm liking what I'm reading. He's not being useless. He's being somewhat helpful. With this being said, I've seen a lot of comments saying I should leave him or even sue him, calling him arrogant or careless. I understand those reactions, but looking back, I would have to admit that this was an honest mistake that anyone could make at any time of the day, at any point in time. A bad mistake? Yes. But nonetheless, simple human error at the end of the day. I'm just angry that it's happened to me, but that it's something I will have to work through on my own. I don't think I fuck with that. I don't think that's something you work on by yourself. I think that is a recipe for disaster. If you want to actually work through these feelings, you need a couples counseling therapist to be able to talk about this with your fiance. I'm not a huge fan of that. Obviously, I'm not trying to blame OP or anything like that, but like, I just think that's a really bad move. With the I don't know reply that he'd given me a week earlier, I will admit he may have been still experiencing shock or trauma, and his mind seemed to have been drawing a blank when I had asked him, because I asked him the same question again today. Why didn't you stop when I told you to? He told me he thought the gap between us and the oncoming car was big enough to make it. He didn't realize how close it actually was. He also said he didn't hear me say stop until it was too late, at which point we were already hit. I told him I said it much earlier, and he admitted he just didn't hear me. He feels horrible. He's told me that every time he approaches a yellow light while driving now, he reminds himself of what happened and how stupid he feels for not being more careful that night. I'm not excusing what happened. It was traumatic. But I do believe he's learning from it and taking accountability for everything as best as he can. I'm just the angry, bitter one that is needing to work through my emotions and grief that I'm experiencing because of the accident. He admitted he just didn't hear me. That's not cutting it for me. Like, I really do think the real answer is I heard you and didn't listen to you. Unless you guys were like blasting music or something, which could be the case. Don't get me wrong. Even then, I'm sitting here, my passenger, I can probably like touch them like driving here. So they're sitting right here. Like, there's no way you don't hear each other. I'm liking a lot from this fiance. Like, even him at least getting past the I don't know. Like, we're starting all the stuff that he's doing. If OP thinks that he feels horrible about it, and now when he's at a yellow light, he's more thoughtful about it. Like, I believe OP. I just think there's more. Low-key, guys, I think this might be above Reddit's pay grade. I know, like, the cliche thing is the answer is therapy, but truly, like, y'all need to be in therapy individually and together to talk this out together. Like, I don't think this is just something that you can work on by yourself. That said, I've resumed individual therapy weekly now instead of monthly, and I had my first session since the accident as of yesterday, and my fiance and I will be attending couples counseling together. Yes, I plan on staying with him. Shit, bro, I should have kept reading. I think the answer could be OP needs to divorce him. Like, there's no way that she can forgive him. Honestly, like, my gut feeling is OP is doing the right thing, at least trying to salvage this. It was a big fucking mistake, but like, there's a lot of people who probably get in car accidents all the time from making a dumb mistake. Just in this case, someone got hurt. Like, if she did want to end this thing with him, like, I totally get it, but I kind of am glad that she's at least like, let's do the right things to see if we can salvage this. I know a lot of you are coming from a place of concern and care, and I truly appreciate that. At the same time, I want to gently remind everyone that I'm a real person going through a very real and painful experience. What I shared was raw and vulnerable, not a call to be judged or attacked. It's okay to disagree with how I'm choosing to move forward, but please remember, I'm the one living this day by day. Healing, both physically and emotional, isn't linear, and I'm doing the best I can. Thank you again for the overwhelming response. I'm reading as many comments as I can, even if I can't reply to everyone. Please continue to take care of yourselves and those you love. Hold anyone you care about closely to you, because when you least expect it, life can change in an instant. There is one relevant comment, not here to pass judgment on you or your fiance, but wanted to ask one question I don't think I've seen. How has his son been since the accident? Obviously physically unharmed, but has anything changed you've observed from him seeing you undergo all this pain and rehab, or possibly seeing his dad suffer any panic attacks? Hope all is well with you and your family. Sending nothing but positive vibes. OP, his son only has seen me at the wreck and hasn't seen me since. Not at the hospital, not at the rehab center, and not back at home. He lives with his mother. He has asked if I'm okay, and I did get to speak on the phone with him briefly. For him personally, he had one nightmare and was worried about me for a few days in the first few days post-wreck. But since then, my understanding is that he's back to his bubbly self and is enjoying the extra attention from friends and family members as they are giving him surprise gifts and taking him out to his favorite restaurant. Shit, glad the son is okay and he's hopefully not traumatized by this. I really want to just know what the comments are saying, y'all. Mourning the future you wanted / thought you were going to have is such a real and helpless grief. It's beyond simple disappointment. Yeah, and I think there is kind of a grief or mourning around, like, this changed your guys' relationship. Like, if anything, that's what you guys have to sort out, is this is going to change the dynamic of your relationship probably forever. And like, in terms of like trust and all that, which is why I think the therapy will be super helpful, don't get me wrong, but like, I do see a world where the relationship has to end because they can't get over it. This is crazy, guys. Nobody in the comments of at least the Best of Redditor updates thread is really being decisive about saying whether or not this man deserves to be broken up with by OP. I'll leave it at this. I am happy that they're at least trying to work it out. I don't think instantly ending the engagement is the right move. That being said, if OP did leave the fiance, I kind of get it. I'm glad they didn't jump to that conclusion right away. And who knows, maybe it'll work out after all the therapy and after like time heals, but holy shit. Look at this sweet handsome man. He just handsoming and sweeting, bro. Look at him. Look at him. I love him so much, dude. I think that my girlfriend is only with me because she can't be with her best friend. Should I just end the relationship? We have a 29 male OP, 26 female girlfriend, 26 male best friend, and we also have a new update. Originally posted in r/relationship advice. Original post November 8th, 2023. I've been with my girlfriend Jordan for a little over 2 years. We live together and we have 2 cats. Up until this weekend, I genuinely thought everything was perfect in our relationship, which I know is what everyone says in these posts, but I really was thinking that I was going to ask her to marry me sometime in the next year. We don't ever get into arguments. Jordan is very sweet and easygoing, and normally we just mesh well on everything. Honestly, if everything in our relationship hadn't been so good up until now, I probably would have just broken up with her this weekend. But because things have truly been so perfect, I'm not sure if maybe I'm jumping to the wrong conclusion about what to do because my feelings got hurt. The other person who's important in this story is Jordan's friend, Mark. She's known Mark for their whole lives because they both grew up in the same small religious community. Jordan isn't part of the religion anymore. She decided to leave the church when she was, I think, 19 and moved to the state that we live in now. Mark is still in the religion and apparently takes it really seriously. I'm told he now works for the church back in Jordan's hometown. Putting money on it, chat, it has to be Mormonism. Only Mormonism is it really that important to kind of note that she decided to leave the church. Maybe Jehovah's Witness too, but I'm putting it on Mormonism. Also, as far as I know, Mark is the only person from the religious community that Jordan still talks to besides her parents, which I'm mentioning because I now think it could be a red flag. So on Saturday, I met Mark for the first time because he was in our city and Jordan wanted us all to have dinner together. At this point, I want to say, I will admit that when we were first dating and I found out that Jordan had a best friend who was a guy, I didn't really like it, especially because it seemed like they were on FaceTime with each other a lot. But since it was a childhood friend and they mostly didn't see each other in person, I just trusted Jordan that Mark was only a friend and didn't let it bother me, and eventually I got over it. So when we were going to dinner, I wasn't jealous or suspicious of Mark at all. If anything, I was somewhat excited to finally be meeting him since I've been hearing about him for 2 years. But then the way Jordan and Mark acted at dinner is what convinced me that there's something going on there other than just being best friends. I honestly don't even know how to describe it, except to say that I've never seen 2 people act more obviously like they were in love with each other. They literally would not stop touching each other. They were constantly touching each other's arms and shoulders, and at some points, they were actually even holding hands. They completely left me out of the conversation and were laughing about inside jokes, and every time they'd laugh, they'd just do this thing where they put their foreheads together, or that was when they'd be holding hands. And then, also, they were just looking at each other in a way that I didn't feel comfortable with at all. It was honestly even worse than the touching. It just wasn't how anyone would look at somebody they're supposedly just friends with. I'm 100% sure that every stranger looking at our table thought that Jordan and Mark were the couple and that I was her brother or something. I felt like a third wheel the whole time, and Jordan didn't even notice how awkward she was making it for me, because she was way too focused on Mark and all the attention she was getting from him. And that's really not like Jordan at all. Usually she's a lot more considerate and would notice immediately if I wasn't having a good time or if she was accidentally being rude and excluding someone at the table. So it was genuinely really jarring to be sitting there with her and Mark and basically feeling like I didn't know my girlfriend at all. It was like he turned her into a completely different person who didn't even care that I was alive. So finally, at one point when Jordan got up to go to the bathroom, I just said to Mark, "So are you into my girl or what's going on here?" Mark replies, "Nothing's going on at all. That ship sailed a long time ago." OP responded to that saying, "What does that mean? Did you guys date at some point?" Mark replies, "No, we never did. And then when she left the church, we both knew it meant that we were never going to. And we've accepted being in each other's lives as friends. There's nothing else going on at all." OP responded, "That makes it sound like the only reason you're not together is because she left the church," to which Mark shrugged at. OP then said, "Well, what if she came back to the church? Would you marry her?" Mark replies to that, "Oh, she's not going to do that. You might as well ask what would happen if a bicycle had 6 tires." And so then when Jordan came back to the table, Mark said to her, "OP wants to know if we'd be married if you weren't a godless heathen." Jordan then replied to that saying, "Why? Did you two call your mom while I was gone?" And then she and Mark both just laughed about it and changed the subject. Yeah, this is so fucking weird, chat. That whole interaction is just screaming red flags. I mean, if this shit wasn't already, him confronting it and it going like this is just red flag city. The capital of red flag, dare I say. So because of dinner and that conversation and everything else that I've written about in this post, I really feel like Jordan and Mark are in love with each other and not just best friends like they say. And the only reason they aren't together is because they can't compromise about their religion. I think Jordan thinks that because she's okay with that decision, she expects me to be okay with being her second choice. And in the meantime, she's actually secretly waiting to be with Mark. So that makes me think that I should probably obviously just have self-respect and break up with her, because I shouldn't be in a relationship with someone who would rather be with someone else. But then the problem for me is that our relationship has been so perfect. And Jordan has always treated me so well except for this one night. The only time she's ever acted like this was on the one occasion that Mark was around in person. Normally, even when she's talking to him all the time, she's never made me feel this way. So on the one hand, I'm wondering if maybe it doesn't matter what Jordan's feelings are for Mark, as long as he isn't going to be around, it doesn't actually seem to affect our relationship. So maybe I just need to cool off and go back to trusting her that they are indeed only friends, even if it seems to be true that they have complicated feelings for each other. Or should I just end things? Y'all, I'm pro end things. I think this is fucking weird. I do think it's a self-respect thing. I think it's disrespectful to yourself to stick with somebody who clearly would choose someone else over you. Also, it's just disrespectful to act like this in front of your partner, to still have somebody in your life that you clearly have feelings for. Like, dude, do you really want to stay with her and potentially marry her, but still always be thinking in the back of my head, like, oh, if this dude Mark just one day decides, I'm gonna leave the church. Or your wife for some reason goes, you know what, I'm gonna join the church again. Like, do you really want to go through life being like, well, is she gonna fucking leave me for this Mark guy? Don't get me wrong, that sucks that up until this point your relationship has been great, but I would argue that your relationship is nowhere near perfect if she is acting like this with another guy. Break up immediately. Cut that shit off. You do not need that in your life. There's no scenario in my head after seeing this that you can continue this relationship without this bleeding into the relationship. Beans is working hard today. Yeah, look at him. Look at him working so fucking hard, chat. Bro is just the hardest worker that ever worked. He's so silly. Oh shit, I totally did forget to turn off the music. Damn it. Thank you guys. This might be a hot take, but I do think the boyfriend is overreacting. It seems like she has a trauma bonded friendship with him. When they said that ship has sailed, it feels like that meant that they assumed they'd end up together because their parents pressured it, but it just wasn't going to happen. I see what you're saying, Sarah, but just no. I don't agree with this because of the way that they're acting at dinner. You should never be holding hands with another man who you clearly had feelings for previously. Like, I want want y'all to think about that. If your partner is holding hands with another girl at a dinner with you and making you, their partner, feel like the third wheel, that is not okay at all. I also think, chat, I'll fucking say it, if the genders were reversed here, we would be so much more mad. Like, I don't even think anyone would have said what Sarah said. And Sarah, I'm not blaming you, by the way. I'm not blaming you at all. I'm just saying in general, everybody has a little bit of gender bias. It's more about just like having your brain corrected. I genuinely believe, chat, we would be so much harder on this person if Jordan was a guy and Mark was a girl. Like, we would totally think of this differently. Sarah, you might be right. Either way, I think that type of behavior is extremely unacceptable in front of your partner or not. You should not be holding hands with another man. Like, that's actually kind of crazy to me. I think that's probably the most disrespectful part too, is it's like, it's one thing if you're friends with someone who you previously had feelings with, but it's another thing if your partner feels the way that OP is feeling. Like, the way that OP is feeling is not okay. I think that's the root of it. And I think that his feelings are extremely valid. So you're saying sterilize the girlfriend? I think the girlfriend is just incredibly unself-aware. Like, I think people do this a lot where they go out and they like get together with somebody even though they're not over somebody else prior because they haven't done the healing. They just think like, oh, if I replace the hole, then I'll be good. I'll be fine. But clearly, like, the hole is not filled for this person. Like, I do think you need to be with somebody who, like, any previous ex that you can think of, you can be like, oh, dude, like, fuck that person. I choose this person over them every single time. I also think it's a little bit of a respect thing to be like, hey, I'm not going to put my partner in an uncomfortable situation that involves my ex. Like, I totally understand being friends with exes and having them kind of in your lives, but in your life, the way that Mark is in Jordan's life is completely inappropriate. I don't think anybody would be okay with this. And if you are, you need to reevaluate. As a woman, I wouldn't care about this in the scenario if this was my partner and wouldn't consider breaking up without a private conversation. It feels like the girlfriend really wasn't aware that it could be read into like that because she doesn't even view that friend as an option. You could be right. I think everybody should be mad at this scenario. Like, if anything, that's just an even bigger ick to me. If the girlfriend really wasn't aware that it could be read into it like that, you're holding hands with him and pressing your forehead against his forehead. I think you feel jealous for good reason sometimes. And this seems like a very good reason. Like, sometimes you're just jealous because like your partner is going somewhere and there's another woman there that maybe is like shown interest in him, but like it really comes down to being like, okay, I trust my partner. He won't do anything. He's good, whatever. But if like they were holding hands and touching foreheads, I think that jealousy is totally merited and you should do something about it. I'm more no assholes here on this one. Yeah, I don't agree with that. I think the girlfriend is such an asshole. Like I said, y'all, I feel like we would be castrating Jordan if it was a man. I don't know. It kind of surprises me that some of you guys are like, oh, no a-holes, or like, I could see how holding someone else's hand is okay. I don't. Maybe that just speaks for like what I want in a relationship. Like, I find that extremely uncomfortable and I would be incredibly upset at something like that. I just don't think that's at all ever appropriate. Update November 10th, 2023, about 2 days after the original post. I talked to Jordan on Wednesday night. When we talked, I decided to take the main piece of advice that I got from everyone and start by telling Jordan that my feelings were hurt by the way she treated me at dinner with Mark, and then see how the conversation went from there. It turned into a very long talk, so I don't want to try to remember exact quotes and get them wrong, but here are the important things. I repeated to Jordan some of what I wrote in that post and said that I felt excluded by her and Mark, especially because they were being overly touchy-feely with each other to the point where it made me uncomfortable. Jordan seemed surprised, like she didn't even notice that she and Mark were touching each other that much. But then she thought about it and said that I was right and apologized. She said that Mark is always really touchy with everybody and not just her. I asked, and so she didn't even think about it, but that she wished I would have said something at the time because she didn't realize they were being that obnoxious. I said that was part of what bothered me because I thought that normally she would have noticed something like that, but she was acting so different around Mark and not paying any attention to anything else, including how I was feeling, that it honestly just made me question which one of us she cared about more, or if she cared about him as more than just a friend. Jordan apologized more and said that she could understand why it would look that way to me, but that she loves me and cares more about me than anyone else in the world, and that she didn't mean to act like that or make me feel that way. She said that she was trying to not make Mark feel like a third wheel because of being a single guy out with a couple, But obviously it backfired and just made me feel like the third wheel instead, which wasn't what she wanted to do either. After that, Jordan explained a lot to me about her history with Mark. And basically, as she explained it, she said that she fully admits she cares about him as more than just a normal friend, but she says that it's not in a romantic way. She said that's why she always specifically refers to him as her best friend and not just as her friend, and said that she would use the phrase, "he's like my brother," if it weren't for the fact that she once had an actual brother, RIP. So she won't use that phrasing for anyone else. Okay, sure, but that's not how you act with a brother. I've like held my siblings' hands as like a joke as an adult or something like that, or just as like a quick little like reassuring squeeze of the hand. I could not imagine like holding my sibling's hand, honestly, longer than 10 to 15 seconds, but I'll say 30 to be safe, because maybe there's some siblings out there that do. Touching foreheads together while they're laughing? Fucking never. Never. And I am close as shit with my siblings, y'all. Hug? Sure. Everybody loves a nice little reassuring hug. Even like when they're tired, just like putting their head on your shoulder, just so they can rest for a second. That's fine to me. Foreheads together, lips inches apart from each other? Fuck no. Absolutely not. Just big no to that. Maybe she does really feel like he's just a brother, but either she doesn't know the boundaries around having a brother or she's lying. According to Jordan, the main thing that happened to make her and Mark so close was that when she was 17, she tried to K-word herself, and that was actually when everyone else in the community stopped talking to her, and Mark was the only person who didn't. For the next couple of years until she moved, he was literally her only friend, and she said that he checked on her every single day to make sure she stayed alive, which is also when they got into the habit of talking on the phone so much. And also apparently during this time, Mark's parents thought that they were dating and made a big deal about how they shouldn't be, and that's why she made that remark during dinner. Apparently calling Jordan a godless heathen is something that Mark's mom said. If you're like so against the things that your religion is forcing your parents to say and do, like why are you still in that religion? But might just be me. I did tell Jordan that Mark basically said to me that he thought the two of them would be married if she had stayed in the church, and I asked her if she thinks that maybe Mark is in love with her, even if she doesn't feel the same way. She said definitely not, and I don't think she was being dishonest. I really don't agree with her, but I think she genuinely believes that Mark isn't into her in any way apart from the friendship. Her opinion of the situation is that she also thinks she and Mark would eventually have gotten married if she had never left the church or moved, but from her perspective, it would have been more because of peer pressure than anything else, and she doesn't think it would necessarily have been a good thing. She thinks Mark was just being honest about that, and that possibly from his perspective, he thinks he and Jordan would have made a good couple. But he's probably thinking that because he's just assuming that in that scenario, she'd be the perfect church wife. So there's no reason why they wouldn't be a good couple. But then the big thing that happened at the end of the conversation is that Jordan told me that Mark is coming back through our city on his way home from this trip. And so she was going to invite him to hang out with the two of us again. But she said that if I'm going to be uncomfortable with him around, then she won't ask him. A lot of people were saying that if she didn't offer to cut contact with him or to cut down on contact with him, it meant that she valued him over me. So the fact that she brought up on her own that she wouldn't invite him to dinner with us again because I didn't like it seemed like a really good sign to me. Based on everything else that she said, I do understand why she didn't offer to totally stop being friends with him, and I wouldn't expect her to after what she told me about what happened when she was a teenager. So now I'm deciding to take Jordan's word for it that although she and Mark are weirdly close, it's for the reasons that she explained to me and not because she's in love with him. I think the fact that she was immediately apologetic instead of defensive was good, and the way she explained everything did make sense to me. I don't necessarily trust Mark, but I do think I can trust Jordan. But I am going to watch and see if it seems like she's still talking to him as much as she used to, or if anything changes or sounds different. I'm not going to be controlling and tell her that she can't talk to him or that she has to talk to him less, but I want to see if me talking to her about all of this causes her to act any differently at all. I'm kind of thinking she might realize on her own that the way Mark acts towards her actually does seem like he likes her as more than a friend now that I've brought it up. But I don't know. It could be that things just go back to exactly the way they were before, and I don't know if anything has actually changed until the next time Mark is around in person, but I don't think that's something I should keep worrying about before it happens. Aside from the whole brother thing that I brought up, I actually think Jordan reacted to this pretty well. I mean, like he said, her suggesting that there be less contact without OP recommending it, kind of a green flag. I think not only keeping an eye on how this conversation changes Jordan's behavior around talking to Mark, but also if she starts implementing boundaries. Because like for me, chat, the biggest things, the touching, the holding hands, the forehead touching. If they stop doing that and they tone down their talking, I actually think OP might be cooking. And this is coming from the guy that was like, you should just fucking break it off. I think that's what I'm gonna go with. I mean, if he's not gonna break up with her, I think he just needs to keep a close eye on it. But I will say her reaction was pretty good. I don't know. It's still weird. Like, I still think it's a little low-key disrespectful that she wasn't able to see how inappropriate her behavior was with Mark. How old are they? 26? I feel like at 26, you should know not to fucking touch foreheads with somebody like that in front of your partner. I don't know. I think he could have cut his losses and it would have been fine. Like, I have to admire him for like trying to keep the relationship going, but like to me, this is like thin ice type beat. And I really do hope he explained the whole boundaries around the type of shit that they do together. It's just weird. It'd be more messed up if that stuff was happening when I wasn't around. At least if people are being that brazen, it's less likely they think they're doing something wrong. You're kind of right. I see your point, but I also just think it's like, how do you not see that that's wrong? Like, this would actually genuinely be an ick to me. Really? You didn't know that that was an inappropriate thing to do? At the age of 26? I don't know. There is a relevant comment here. Looks like they're asking the important questions. OP, did you acknowledge that the touching by her was inappropriate? I do not see how she could have not recognized how touchy they were and her lack of physical touch with you. Like many others have said, I am not sure Jordan was being completely honest with you. Did you ask her how she would have felt in a reverse situation? If the three of you meet again, you might want to think about excusing yourself to go to the bathroom or something during the meal and instead hide and film their interaction while you are gone. See if Jordan changes how she interacts with you not there. I say to capture it on your phone because then you have it to show her if you break up. If she interacts appropriately while you are gone, then she may have gotten the message. She should also start limiting her interactions with him, phone/text, because that relationship is not healthy and no significant other should have to deal with that if you two get married. It needs to be dealt with now. This is hard, y'all, because it low-key feels a little slimy to like set up this trap and record it, but also I kind of agree a little bit. Like, I do think if OP stays in this relationship, he needs to really know that Jordan chooses him over Mark. Okay, OP did reply to it saying, she did acknowledge that all the touching was inappropriate, yes. When she actually thought back on how much they were doing it and how over the top it was, she was embarrassed and realized that she shouldn't have started acting like that just because Mark makes it seem normal. I didn't ask her how she'd feel in a reverse situation because it seemed like she got it immediately as soon as I told her how it made me feel. If the three of us are ever together again, I'll definitely be watching everything, but I don't think there's a chance of that happening for a while. All right, now we got another fucking update. So let's do it. Update 2, January 24th, 2024, nearly 3 months later. The situation seems pretty resolved now after Mike and Jordan had an argument over everything and are no longer friends. Okay, I think they meant Mark, not Mike up here. What happened was that after Jordan told Mark we weren't available to hang out when he came back through our city, he blamed me, saying that he could tell Jordan was only saying no to hanging out because I had a problem with him. Jordan admitted that this was part of the reason and told Mark that she wanted a bit of space from him because she was trying to be respectful of our relationship. Mark got really offended and kept asking Jordan to explain why him being around was disrespectful to our relationship and kept pretending not to understand her answers. And then eventually during the conversation, he started trying to guilt Jordan into making time for him and told her that she's become a worse person over the years because the Jordan he knew would never blow him off. That upset Jordan a lot because she took it as Mark saying that she was a bad person since she left the church, and she started crying and she ended up hanging up on him. Yes, there is the cult follower activity right there. Jordan and I talked a lot afterwards. I told her that I thought Mark was toxic because anyone else would have been understanding of what she said. Jordan said that a lot of what he said during the conversation reminded her of being in the church. She said that she couldn't explain it except that it was his attitude when he tried to argue with her, but that it made her not really want to talk to him even outside of everything to do with our relationship. Mark texted Jordan the day after asking if she really wasn't going to come see him and if she was going to pick some boyfriend over her only friend after he's been there for her through everything. Jordan texted Mark back explaining her point again and saying that their friendship couldn't be the same anymore as it used to be now that she was with someone, and that he should understand that. Mark texted Jordan that he couldn't believe she'd treat her best friend like that. Jordan tried to text Mark saying that a friend wouldn't be guilt-tripping her, but it turned out that he had blocked her number. After that, Jordan was feeling like she'd done something wrong and was too mean to Mark, but she and I talked about it again and she realized that she was right to not want to be friends with Mark if he's going to treat her like she owes him loyalty. Jordan then blocked him back, including on all her socials, so that if he later changes his mind and tries to apologize, she can ignore him. A couple weeks went by, and while I'll admit I was pretty happy about not hearing from Mark, Jordan was really bummed about how everything ended. She said that although she saw now that Mark isn't a good person to have in her life because of his reaction to her trying to set a boundary, she still felt sad and abandoned. And it was bringing back a lot of the same feelings as when she was a teenager, and her other church friends all turned their backs on her. So at this point, I asked her if she's ever thought about going to therapy for religious trauma, and she said she's gone for a few months when she first left the church, but the therapist wasn't really helpful. I suggested that maybe it would be a good idea to try again with a better therapist because it sounds like all this stuff still bothers her a lot. And Jordan agreed with me and decided to make an appointment. She's had a couple of therapy sessions that she says so far are good, but I don't really ask her for any details on what they talk about, so I can't really update on that part of the situation. I don't know, maybe I'm just being overly harsh on Jordan. I feel like none of the right decisions were made directly by her that influenced the path of this story, which I get it. Sometimes that's how people have to make changes, but it's not ideal. Like, it's not ideal that you don't know that you shouldn't be holding hands and touching another guy who you probably had feelings for back in the day in front of your partner. It's not ideal that, yeah, now Mark isn't in her life, but it's because Mark made that happen, not necessarily that Jordan made that happen. You guys know what I'm saying? Like, I'm glad it ended up okay and they're still together and it's kind of question mark happily ever after a little bit, but I don't know. I don't really feel like Jordan took initiative on anything, but glad she's in therapy. Glad she at least understood what OP was saying and was willing to follow through on it. Got to give her credit there. Yeah, like I said, I might be being too critical on her, but just more of an observation. I feel like it's harsh to blame her for any of it. I will once again say, I think we're only saying that because she's a woman here. I feel like if this was a man, we would be very hard on them. I think we do need to point out that she made mistakes here and that she didn't go about fixing those mistakes well. Was she very good about having the conversation with OP and seeing his side? Absolutely. Like, thumbs up there. But I think there is a little bit of harshness that we need to give. I just think if you're 26 years old, you should know not to physically touch another person in an intimate way other than your partner. I think that should be gold standard. I like the correction, Curly Fry. It's okay to say she made mistakes, but she addressed everything as well as I think she could. Absolutely. She was very receptive. I was kind of curious why Jordan didn't explain her history with Mark earlier to OP. Like, this is something that, like, I feel like every person I've dated has told me earlier than 2 years into the relationship. Guys, I'm willing to admit, maybe I'm overly harsh on Jordan. Maybe it's because I'm a guy. Like, maybe the gender bias is there where I'm like, I don't think anybody should put up with that, but I'm still glad that it worked out. Like, it genuinely does feel like Jordan wants this to work with OP and that she loves him. It almost sounds like Jordan just didn't really realize the boundaries that she was crossing in terms of like how you should operate in a relationship. Mysterious vibrating in my bedroom. Originally posted to r/RBI, which is a Reddit Bureau of Investigation subreddit thread. That's fucking funny. Original post, October 18th, 2023. I'm not going crazy, but there's a vibrating in my room that I hear from time to time, and it's making me paranoid. I live alone. No one else lives with me but my dog. The buzz I hear sporadically sounds exactly like my iPhone. Just a quick, short vibration about half a second. It's not my iPhone, as I hear it when I'm actively using my phone, and it's not my phone. It's not regular. It doesn't happen in intervals. It's completely random. Sometimes I hear it often. Sometimes days go by. It's too quiet to hear when I'm watching TV, almost always when there's no other sound. Sometimes it sounds like it's coming from under my bed. Sometimes it sounds like it's coming from the ceiling. I can't for the life of me figure out what it is. I live pretty basic. I have a light mounted on the ceiling, CO detector, iPhone charger in my room, and that's all the electronic things in my room. Could it be coming from inside the drywall? Plumbing, maybe. I'm not crazy. This is a real sound, but it happens so infrequently, I can't pinpoint it at all. I kind of want to see what everyone was saying in the comments. An Oral-B electric toothbrush with very low battery will do this. Drove me crazy for 2 days. Okay, someone suggested it could be insect activity, a carpenter bee or some other insect. Someone said, I had this for a month before I found the cause. My neighbors had got ultrasonic deterrent devices set up in their garden to keep snakes away. We live in Australia. They buzz like a phone on vibrate every couple of minutes. Do you have Verizon FiOS? The box lets out a little buzz every now and then. Check for internet service provider boxes. I don't have internet or Wi-Fi. What the fuck? Is OP living in the Stone Age? What the hell? Okay, so they dropped an update April 4th, 2025. A year and a half after. Posted about a strange buzzing in my house over a year ago, and I never was able to figure out what it was. I hear it so infrequently and irregularly that it was almost impossible to figure out what it was. Every time I'd hear it, I'd immediately stop what I was doing and go real silent, waiting with bated breath, hoping it would buzz again. Almost like a cruel joke, it would only buzz after I gave up waiting and went back to whatever I was doing. Even up to the last week, I'd still hear it. Sometimes multiple times a day, sometimes weeks would go by without hearing it. I'm pretty sure I figured it out, and it's comically stupid what it was. So I was sleeping in the middle of the night, like 3 a.m., and I woke up and was in a semi-sleep daze kind of drifting. The world was real quiet, and it was a deep silence. And I heard the buzz. But for the first time, it almost immediately repeated. And kept repeating in frequency, almost like a rhythm. I was 100% sure it was my phone ringing on vibrate, so I started groping around the bed to find my phone because the buzzing sounded exactly like my phone buzzing every 2 seconds for about half a second. Once I found my phone, the buzzing continued, but I couldn't quite place where it was coming from. This is gonna sound crazy, and I'm amazed this is the source. But eventually my alertness and physical movements woke my dog up, and the buzzing immediately ceased with a grunt. The buzzing was my stupid shepherd's exhales. Like his every exhale, or possibly inhale, I'm not sure, was buzzing, exactly emulating a cell phone buzz. I'm decently confident that this is the same buzzing that I've been hearing for years, and also the reason that I've been unable to source it, because every time I hear it, I get super alert and tense, which immediately wakes up my dog as he's super in tune to my behavior and his breath buzzing stops. Then when I relax and give up the search, he goes back to sleep as the situation is over. That's when I hear it again, and again, he wakes up to see what's got me agitated. I also only ever hear it during moments of calm when I'm lounging, never when I'm active and moving about the house, so this would make sense that it's only ever when my boy's sleeping. I'm pretty satisfied with this answer, and as I haven't heard it since that night, when I do hear it again, I'll be on the lookout to see if it's the dog's nose next time as well. So it was the dog the whole time. That's so funny. That would drive me nuts, bro. I can't believe it took her a year and a half. Noises bug the shit out of me. This would have actually drove me fucking crazy, chat. Like, okay, I don't know if your guys' AirPods do this, but my AirPods make this little like beep, beep, beep noise. And I always keep my AirPods like somewhere on one of my desks. And I didn't know for a while that that was what was making the noise, but it bugged me for so long. I was like, what electronic do I have that is making this stupid fucking noise? And finally, one day I was just like really quiet and like it made the noise when I like was looking at the AirPods and I could tell that it was coming from them. And I was like, oh my God, thank God. Thank God I finally figured it out. That's so funny, y'all. I love it. Yeah, repeating noises just drive me fucking crazy, chat. Reddit has jaded us all. No, I was kind of waiting for another carbon monoxide detection story or whatever, where like the dude was going crazy in his apartment because there was just a little bit of carbon monoxide. I felt up my friend in my sleep. My wife won't talk to me. We have a 29 male OP, 27 female friend, 28 female wife. Original post October 7th, 2014. Please excuse this awkward interruption, but I just really quickly wanted to say thank you for watching the video this far. Oh, hi, Beans. Hey, buddy. I'm trying to shoot. Buddy, I'm trying to shoot a thing to... You know what? You guys can just enjoy my cat while I do it. Oh, there he goes. Okay. If this is your first video of mine, I appreciate you giving me a chance. Feel free to check out the rest of the videos on my channel. I have over 100 reading Reddit videos, and I try to come out with 3 new ones every single week. And if this is like your second or third video, I would greatly appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. It just helps me out, helps tell YouTube that you're enjoying my content. And lastly, if you've ever considered supporting me monetarily, I do have memberships on my YouTube channel. The different tiers give you perks like early early access to videos, access to old videos of mine that I've privated, and even one that'll get you a signed photo from me and Beans. My signature, Beans' paw print. Again, appreciate you for making it this far in the video. Let's get back to it. Some backstory. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and I am having sex with my wife. I don't remember the foreplay. I don't remember getting hard. I don't remember getting on top of her, but I wake up and I'm mid-thrust inside of her. She tells me that I am the one that initiates it and that I get super sensual with my touching, but I have no memory of it ever happening until I wake up and I'm inside her. What is it called again, guys? Sleepsomnia? We learned about this in a previous video. Cut to this weekend. I'm on a camping trip with some friends, 2 guys and a girl. My wife does not like camping, so she did not go. The girl is a platonic friend. I can't stress that enough. I have zero attraction to her. We all shared a tent because that's what you do when you camp. And the sleeping arrangement was friend 1, friend 2, me, and Taylor, we'll call her. I have camped with them all on numerous occasions in the same sleeping arrangement, and nothing has ever happened before. We all had been drinking around the campfire and eventually went to bed. I woke up in the middle of the night with my sleeping bag unzipped and her hand on my crotch and mine on her ass as she was kissing my neck. I was instantly awake and recoiled, got out of the tent, and sat by the fire for the rest of the night. The 2 guys were passed out drunk. They had more than Taylor and I, so they had no idea what had happened. Taylor came out and tried to talk to me. I was terrified and in shock. She told me that I'd been rubbing up on her and making her feel good, and then she turned around and tried to reciprocate. I asked her why, and she said she thought that's what I wanted. I didn't sleep that night and went home the next day and told my wife what happened. She blew up and accused me of cheating on her and that she was leaving me. I've tried calling her the past few days and she won't answer. She is staying with her sister. We haven't spoke since Saturday. She won't give me the time to explain what happened. What do I do? Thought number 1. Hey man, have you ever heard of getting other tents? That's where my brain goes. I'm not saying that there was malice on OP's part, but I think if you're married, you should do the safe thing, bring an extra tent, sleep by yourself or only with like another dude or whatever. Also, I think if you're sleeping next to somebody and you have a history of initiating sex while you're sleeping, I think it's kind of important to explain to the people you're sleeping next to, hey, by the way, this is something I do. If I start doing it, shake me until I wake up. I don't know what the procedure is there, but I think if you're sleeping next to somebody, as much as that's a very uncomfortable conversation to have, you should let them know. Okay, so that's number 1 and maybe number 2. My number 3 on this, I have camped with them all on numerous occasions in the same sleeping arrangement and nothing has ever happened before. What does your wife think of that? Because low-key chat, if OP's wife knows that he sleeps next to this girl, I think she needs to understand that this was unintentional. Seeing from OP's perspective, I think like as long as his wife knew that this was the sleeping arrangement, she should understand, oh yeah, he's done that with me and it's not a voluntary thing. Odds are it could potentially happen, which once again goes around to, okay, well, if you're gonna do that, let the people fucking know. Oh shit, I didn't even realize there's an edit for clarity underneath the TLDR. I apologize. I thought this was part of the TLDR. Though we had been drinking, I was by no means drunk. This isn't a I blacked out and then came to while I was on top of her kind of thing. It was not a means to cheat on my wife with Taylor. I do not find Taylor attractive at all. We have camped together 20 plus times and this has never happened before. I honestly had no idea what was happening until I woke up. I genuinely think if everything OP is saying is true, the wife is overreacting here. Hold on. Whoa, wait, what's happening? Hold on. This is crazy, y'all. Why don't you guys believe him? We don't have his diagnosis, so why should we assume it's real? Because he said it's real up here. Who knows? He could be lying, but I'm operating under we have been given specific information in this story. We know that sexsomnia is a real thing. We did the research in this in a previous video. It is a thing that other people experience. There's actually somebody in chat who has actually experienced it, okay? This is totally something that happens. All I'm saying is he slept next to a woman knowing he has sexsomnia. I want to know if his wife also knew that he was potentially sleeping next to a woman while having sexsomnia. Because if she knows that, I think it is also not fully her responsibility. It's mainly OP's responsibility, but I think it is a little bit your responsibility to be like, hey, you do this thing where you wake up and have sex with people. Who's to say that it won't happen with other people? Maybe we need to find a solution here. Honestly, I do think OP's a little bit of the a-hole for not letting people know that he has sexsomnia who he's planning on sleeping next to. I think that's a huge a-hole move. I would never sleep next to somebody if they didn't know that that was something that I would do, because that could be an extreme violation of somebody's boundaries. She didn't know about his condition, but she knew he was married. If anybody's like truly the a-hole here, it's Taylor. As long as OP's telling us the truth, I don't think OP's he's the a-hole here. Could he have taken better precautions? Yes, but also it wasn't intentional. Like, I will say it's a little unfair that Taylor found herself in this situation. She should have known beforehand that this is something that happens to him. Ruben, it's the lack of foresight. Agreed. I think, and maybe I'm wrong for this, foresight also includes the wife. The wife also knew that this was a thing. Even if he had done this to like a guy, like let's say the story goes a different way and he's only sleeping next to guys and he starts like initiating something with them. The foresight of like, hey, you're sleeping next to other people, you should let them know that you do this is so important. And like the wife knows that. Guys, I'm not like saying that this is like 100% her responsibility. What I'm saying is, as husband and wife, you guys are going through life together. Don't you think that like, hey, husband, you are going on a camping trip with other people and you are going to be sleeping next to them as like a unit, as a married couple, and especially knowing that there's a woman there, we should have the foresight to take precautions since you do this. I don't know if blame is the right way to put it, but I do want to say, I think it is your responsibility in a relationship to handle your guys' problems together. The wife shouldn't be his mother and tell him what to do before camping. OP should know what he should and shouldn't do in his condition. It's just disrespecting. I'm all for guys not treating their wives like his mother, but this is sex we're talking about, and sex does not involve a mother. Sex involves two people in a relationship together, ideally not a mother. Honestly, guys, it's boundaries. Like, okay, let's say OP didn't have sexsomnia. Him and his wife are talking through like, hey, I'm going on this camping trip and there's going to be a girl there. You are going to talk about the boundaries required for you to feel comfortable with your partner going on a trip with somebody of the opposite gender. And that might be sleeping in a different tent, calling me before you go to bed, no getting blackout drunk, etc., etc., etc. I think the sexsomnia weaves into that conversation that you would have, because it's like, okay, this just adds another layer that, yes, isn't in a normal relationship, but it is very important. And once again, guys, I'm operating under the assumption that the wife knew that they were sleeping in the same tent next to each other, and now it's upsetting her. Like, clearly that's something that they should have addressed in their relationship. Why are we assuming that? What do you mean? Why are we assuming that? It's a Reddit story. To me, it's honestly more crazy that he's doing this without having the conversation, but maybe he hasn't. And you know what? If that's the case, then yeah, I totally agree. I'm kind of like really looking at what Tabby's saying here, because Tabby actually has this. Yeah, I wonder how much he was informed on this. I know sexsomnia can affect anyone. Your sleep state does not care who or what, but does his wife know that? Oh, okay. That's a good point. Does the wife know that this isn't just like a, hey, this happens with you because I sleep in the same bed with you? Many people aren't even aware of sexsomnia was a thing until a couple live streams back, LOL. Wonder how much he's informed of his own condition. It's a good point. In my head, this is similar to pissing the bed. Like, yeah, it's an accident, but if you're doing it enough to know you have a habit and it's affecting the people you're sleeping next to, it's your job. Honestly, I kind of like that comparison a lot. He tried sleeping with the only woman rather than the two guys. I mean, it's a 50-50 chance. He had a girl on one side, a guy on the other. I mean, don't get me wrong. It is hella convenient. I'm not going to argue with that. But if he has a history of this, he's responsible for his actions. If you guys want to bring that up, there's actually a case of a guy murdering his wife while he was sleepwalking, and the courts decided he was not guilty. Do we say that that guy is responsible for his actions? I'm genuinely just bringing this up because, like, personally, if he truly was going through sexsomnia in that moment, I don't agree with that. Sure, he's responsible for the actions leading up to it, but the actual act of doing it was not intentional. I think intentionality is super important there. No, because did he prepare a murder kit before sleeping? No, but did he prepare to have sex with her before they were sleeping? Like, Echo, I'm not really seeing your point, because if he really truly, and who knows, maybe he's lying to us, but if he truly had wanted to cheat, he wouldn't have had the reaction that he had. There are a couple of relevant comments here. One commenter asked, on the list of really dumb decisions, sleeping next to a female friend on a camping trip without your wife when you're a known sleep fucker ranks right up there. Seriously, dude, seriously. Did your wife even know this female friend was going and that you'd be sharing a tent? OOP, yes, she knew she would be there and thought nothing of it. This group has gone camping together 20 plus times over the years, slept in the same way, and nothing has ever happened because there is absolutely no attraction to Taylor, none at all. I do not find her physically attractive, and I look at her as a sister. I can't stress that enough. She does not appeal to me in the slightest. As for the sleep fucking, it had never been an issue before on these trips when more alcohol was involved, so the idea of it possibly happening has never crossed my mind. The sleep fucking itself hasn't happened in close to a year, so I figured I was past it. Well, that's really fucking stupid of OP. I mean, I guess it wasn't clarified, but she knew that this woman would be there. Did she know that you were sleeping next to her, though? Someone replied saying, bullshit, maybe you weren't into her, but she was definitely into you. She was awake, knew what was happening, and reciprocated. So you can't pretend like there's no underlying danger in this camping trip. Obviously, this woman has feelings for you if she was willing to help you cheat on your wife. She said she thought you wanted it. How exactly did she get that idea? Because he was groping her in his sleep? I kind of understand, like, okay, how do you act with this woman outside of just camping? But also, she said she thought you wanted it. Yeah, I mean, that's usually what happens when someone like grabs your butt or something like that. You should not be spending time with Taylor ever again. That's step one, and you need to make that clear to both her and your wife. Then flip the situation. Let's say your wife was a sleep fucker. She went on a camping trip, drank, and woke up finding herself astride a guy's dick. The guy was happily fucking her. What would you be thinking right now? OOP, the first thing I said to Taylor was, what the fuck are you doing after I woke up? I had no idea that she had any feelings towards me at all. After we talked for maybe a minute, I told her to leave me alone and she went back to the tent until the morning. I haven't spoken to her since. I will not speak to her again. That friendship is over. I don't know, guys. I think it really does come back around to like, if you know you have sexsomnia, take precautions. Update October 9th, 2014, 2 days later. Before I get into the update, there are some things I want to say. For those of you who accused me of cheating on my wife deliberately and attempting to R-word Taylor, you guys are just dicks. I did not grope Taylor on purpose and I did not know that it would happen. I was not aware of what was going on and I had no control over what I was doing at that point in time. I would never grope or touch anyone without their consent. I don't think you understand how terrifying it is to wake up with someone who isn't your wife, grabbing your crotch and having no idea what is going on. Couple that with fear and confusion with the immense guilt I had because I was the one who apparently initiated it, it made me want to fucking die. So thanks for that, people. I really appreciate it. To those who actually had helpful advice and actually tried to put themselves in my shoes, thank you very much. Here's the update. I spoke with my doctor and he says it sounds like I do have sexsomnia, but he is not too familiar with it. As far as he knows, there's no real cure and there isn't really a treatment for it. But he said he was going to refer me to a psychiatrist/psychologist and they would help me. He told me they might try me on some antidepressants to attempt to curb it from happening again. I found a blog about sexsomnia that actually really helped me better understand what I have and how to deal with it. The guy does a really good job of explaining the guilt and all the emotions I felt after all of this happened. I managed to talk to my wife and things are good now. She wasn't contacting me because she needed time to herself and space to sort it all out in her head. She didn't want to say anything else that she would regret later and she felt bad for her initial reaction. She knows me, she trusts me, and we have a great relationship. This is the first hiccup I can ever remember us having in the 9+ years that we've been together. After I told her what happened, she went to the darkest possible timeline and thought the worst. I can't blame her for her initial reaction because one of the biggest deal breakers for either of us is infidelity. She came home the night I posted the original thread and I apologized up and down about putting myself in that spot to begin with, but she actually put me at ease and said that she didn't blame me for it because she too never thought that my sleep sexing would be an issue. She read up on sexsomnia while at her sister's and realized I wasn't trying to cheat on her. I was not in control of my body at the time. I stopped the moment I became lucid and I immediately let her know what happened. The biggest problem from this whole thing was the fact that we never took my sexsomnia as something that was serious. When it would happen, we just assumed it was because of a sexy dream I was having and thought of the whole thing as something quirky that I did every once in a while, not an actual sleep disorder that could have serious risks associated with it. So for those who said I was a known sleep fucker, well, no, it wasn't known. We just thought it was something weird I did every once in a while. Tell me I'm making excuses all you want. Tell me I'm a piece of shit for putting people at risk. Tell me that I'm deflecting blame. I really don't care. It's like having diabetes without knowing it and then getting sick when you eat a candy bar. Yeah, hindsight shows that there was an issue when you were peeing all the time and you were losing weight and you were constantly tired, but if you aren't aware of diabetes, you don't actively think you have diabetes. My wife and I were both ignorant of the entire condition. The idea that I could do it to someone other than my wife had never crossed either of our minds because it happened so rarely and we didn't know it was anything legitimate. If either one of us believed that it was an actual risk, I would not have been in a tent with anyone. Now we obviously know better, live and learn. Okay, so maybe we were kind of reading in too much into his knowledge of this, which, okay. How old is this guy again? This dude is 2 years older than me, and I just learned about sexsomnia. Granted, I've never experienced it, and like, I don't know how I would have reacted if I didn't know that it was a thing and it happened to me. I don't know, guys. I think I would maybe actually do what OP did. Like, if I didn't even know that it was a possibility, like, I probably would just brush it aside. And even the wife, bro, like now it's like, okay, so this has never been something that they've ever talked about really in depth in their relationship. Like then as much as like, damn, maybe we can't really put the blame on OP's shoulders. Like also same with the wife. The wife in no way, shape or form could have seen this coming if OP didn't even really see this coming. I do really care about what you guys are saying. Like genuinely, I know we are disagreeing in here a lot, but just know like I really do care about what you guys have to say. And I do really appreciate y'all challenging me. Never feel like you can't talk your shit in here. Yeah, it took me a while for me to take what was happening to me seriously, but now I'm trying to help people take anything with sleep seriously. seriously. Tabby, you've helped us immensely, bro. Until like 10 streams ago, I had no fucking clue this was a thing. I mean, even in that story, I was ready to fucking accuse that guy of the R word. And then Tabby came in and was like, hey, this is actually kind of a normal thing. We were all like, oh shit. One of the biggest reasons I got shit in the last thread was because I had the audacity to sleep in a tent with a woman. My wife knew of the sleeping arrangements and was completely fine with it. Like I said in the last thread, we had camped that way many times and it had never been an issue before this past weekend. However, there was a separate incident on another camping trip that I was not previously aware of. It turns out that I had apparently started caressing one of my buddies on an earlier trip and he didn't tell me. Oh, that must have been very confusing for him. He told me that when I did it, he elbowed me in the gut and then I rolled over and went to sleep. I had no idea that it happened and he never mentioned it before because he thought I was just trying to fuck with him. So it seems like my sexsomnia doesn't discriminate. For those who said I was stupid for sleeping next to a woman, that is not the case. I was stupid for sleeping next to anyone who is not my wife. I will never put myself in that situation again. Listen, bro, I respect the level of trust in your relationship 100%. If I ever go on a camping trip with my friends and there's a girl there, there's no way I'm sleeping next to her. Not because I don't trust myself or anything like that. Like, I would never fucking do anything, but for the sake of like putting my wife at ease or my girlfriend or my fiance, whatever that is, I would just much rather like, fuck it, bro. I'd sleep outside before I slept next to someone, you know? Unless it was life or death. All right, let me put that there. If it's life or death, sure. If we got to use body heat for warmth or something like that, fine. Hopefully that never happens during a camping trip. As for Taylor, I got a conversation going with her on Facebook. In it, I apologized for the incident and I went into some detail about why what happened. She said that she was already aware of the fact that I do stuff in my sleep because my wife had made jokes about it in the past. While I did apologize, I still told her that the way she handled it was inappropriate and that I will not be camping with her or associating with her any longer. I asked her if she had feelings for me and she said that she didn't think so, but she got lost in the moment. She took responsibility for her actions and admitted what she did was wrong. She was very understanding of the whole thing, was very remorseful, and agreed it was best to stay away. As far as friend breakups go, it was very mutual and mature. We both owned up to our mistakes and we are no longer associating with each other. It's for the best. My wife eventually read the conversation and it reinforced my version of the story and the series of events that I described to her. So that made her happy and reinforced that I wasn't lying. It sucks because she was one of our best friends, but anyone who is willing to cheat with me does not need to be in our lives. Some might say that that's not fair to her and that if I hadn't attempted to sleep sex her, then everything would be fine. I disagree. She was willing to go through with it when I was willing to go through with it. She obviously was feeling something I was not, and I don't need to associate with that. If I have learned anything from this incident, it's that I can't be surprised if a bomb goes off while I'm holding a flame to the fuse. Removing myself from her life is the best course of action for all parties involved. Taylor isn't my wife, so she is not my priority. Honestly, that whole interaction with Taylor, good move. Good moves all around. Having a mature conversation around it, deciding that the move is to not be friends anymore, and allowing the wife to read it so that the sequence of events does add up and the wife can be more trusting and more reassured. So all in all, things are all right. I am trying to move forward, as is my wife. Things are looking up. We haven't scheduled couples counseling or anything yet, but I have suggested it and am a willing participant if my wife wants to consider it down the road. She seems to be already pretty forgiving, so I think that we're good. I am seeing the psychiatrist/psychologist next week. So for those of you who actually helped and gave me constructive advice instead of attacking me, thank you. One commenter quoted the part about him caressing one of his buddies in an earlier camping trip and then said, "Oh goodness, I questioned this on your last post and was downvoted for some reason. I figured if you have sexsomnia, laying next to anyone could be a problem, not just a woman. So glad this all worked out. I thought you got a lot of unnecessary heat on your last post. I'm glad this has all been resolved and you guys are moving forward. OP, yeah, he told me he originally thought I was trying to make it seem like a spider or a rat or something was crawling up his back. He flinched, and when he saw it was just me, elbowed me, and I turned over. Apparently that's how it starts with my wife and how it started with Taylor too. I start lightly running my hand up her back like I'm teasing her. Then I start rubbing and it eventually leads to more direct petting/squeezing. Apparently my sleep foreplay is on point. Bro has better floor play while he's sleeping than some dudes do while they're fully conscious. Sorry, that might have been a bad joke, but I had to do it. A different commenter replied to that comment saying, "That's much nicer than what I do to my partner. I treat him like a horse. I'm not joking. I will cluck whilst trying to move him around the bed, wrap my legs around him and squeeze him to get him into a trot, ride him at a canter. I once even bit him hard because I read at some silly forum that you should bite a horse back to get it to stop biting. My husband would swap for your type of sleep disturbance in a hoofbeat." Oh my God, and their user is horse somniac. Nothing else to say about that story. I'm glad it wrapped up fine. I just want to say I appreciate all the conversation that we had on it. Even though we disagreed, I love that we can disagree and still like come together at the end. No matter who's right or wrong. For all we know, this story could be completely fucking fake. I'm just glad that we can have mature conversations around situations and practice having difficult conversations around tough situations. Appreciate y'all.